Hi quilty friends, and welcome to my little spot and podunk. My name is Leanne, and as you know, today we're going to be making this cute little cat block with an ornament on it. And then at the end of the video, I will show you how to make this bench pillow. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to need is to have an open toe foot and a 1/4 inch foot. Of course, you don't need either to do this block, but it's helpful. I always like to do the diagonal seams first. So let's go up here and grab fabrics A and M. Okay, we're just going to take those M fabrics and turn them upside down on the bottom. And you want to make sure that you are sewing on the proper edge. And I want to put this over here so you can see that this is 4 inches by 3.5 inches. So just to make sure we sew in the right direction, when we finish this up, I'm going to put a pin there, and that tells me to sew in that direction. And right now, I know that I need to sew this one in that direction. And what we're going to do is come over here and put that square right in the corner. And we've got our needle in the middle of our open toe foot, and it's lined up with this line on the bed of my sewing machine. And you don't have to have tape like this on the bed of your sewing machine. You can use just a piece of tape and put the edge of it right here. Or you can draw a line on the bed of your sewing machine. It's all up to you. It helps us to get this diagonal line. Or you can draw a line from corner to corner on that square and stitch right on that line on the fabric. So what I'm going to do is line up the corner of the square with the needle that's right in the center of my open toe foot. And I'm going to take 1 or 2 stitches. And then I'm going to look down here to make sure that the corner of my square is lined up with that middle red line on the bed of my sewing machine. And I'm just going to stitch from one corner to the next. Don't pay any attention to what's going up here by the needle. Pay attention to this red line and the corner of the square, making sure that that square stays pointed at that red line. It's also a good idea to lower your stitch length, because these are some short seams, and when we get to pressing, it could possibly move around a little bit. You know, you could lose your stitches is what I meant to say. So again, we're going to do the same thing, just lining up the corner of that square with the needle, taking 1 or 2 stitches, and making sure we're lined up down here with that red line, and then just stitch. Now that we've got both of those lines stitched, we can go ahead and trim off the fabric on the outside of our stitch line. So there's our stitch line. We're going to come in here and trim it off about 1/4 inch away. It could be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, it doesn't matter. You could use a rotary cutter ruler, a ruler and a mat if you wanted to. I'm just not going to do it because nobody's going to know if that's 1/4 inch seam. I mention that all the time. I know you guys get tired of hearing it, but I try to say the same thing for the new quilter that might be joining us. So we've pressed those out towards the brown, and now we're just going to take it and stick it right back up on our board. If you've never seen any of my videos before and wondering what this board's all about, I made these, and I will link to the tutorial on how to do that in the description box below. Okay, now let's grab fabrics N and B. I should also mention that I have a link to the stickers that I am using on my design board, and I also have a free printable for a different type of letters that you can print out on my blog. It's downloadable, printable, and you can change the letter, the fonts, and the color of the letters. Let me show those to you real quick. They're right here, and I printed mine out on cardstock, as you can see, and then cut them apart. You cannot change the red part, but you can change the green. All right, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to start fast forwarding through all the sewing and just stop when it comes time for the pressing directions. Okay, again, we're going to cut 1/4 inch or so away from that sewn line. And we are going to press towards the dark. I tend to almost always press toward the dark, and I tend to always say that in every video, just to let you know that I do, but you can also press these seams open if you like. That's all up to you. It's your quilt. All right, we've got fabrics B, O, and H. Okay, again, we're going to cut about a 1/4 inch away. Start cutting off my threads. Looks kind of sloppy. And on these larger squares, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and do another stitch about a 1/2 inch away from the one you just made towards the outside, and you would have a bonus 1/2 square triangle. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that in this video, but I do keep these and stitch them up. All right, so let's go ahead and press towards the dark. Okay, let's come up here and grab fabrics P and B. There's 2 B's there stacked together. Now what I'm going to do is do these one at a time and cut them off and flip it back, because you can't sew them because they're overlapping. So I'm just going to put this one up here and make sure that I am sewing in the right direction. I'm going to look back here at my cat, and it's the tip of the tail. So I know that I need to go this direction. So I'm just going to flip this around and sew from corner to corner. All right, let's go ahead and cut that off a 1/4 inch away and press it towards the dark. All right, so we're like this. Now we're going to put this one on here, right sides together. And we need to sew, whoops, from this corner to that corner. You guessed it, we're going to do some trimming on the 1/4 inch away from the outside and press in towards that dark piece. Let's put it back up there. All right, one more flippy corner, and we've got 1 B and 1 P. And trim it off. And you guessed it, we're going to press towards the dark. Ooh, I almost forgot the ornament up here. We've got fabrics T and E, and there's 2 sets of them, so I'm going to bring both of them down here. Okay, let's cut those apart and trim all those edges off. Now, if you're new to my channel and didn't know, this is the 10th block that I have made this year. The 10th cat block, I should say. There is a link to all the cat blocks below. And starting the first Friday of January, I will be doing a cat block a month, and it'll be themed by that month in some way or another, either by a holiday or the season. And they are totally free. And then at the end of the year, I will show you how to put them in one quilt. Unless I get inspired to make some smaller projects like the pillow back here that you see, there won't be any. So I won't guarantee that there'll be a project every month, but there may be, because sometimes I just get inspired and want to make something. So the first Friday of every month in 2022, there will be a new cat block. All right, so we pressed all those to the dark, and we're going to stick them right back up there. And now we can change out our presser foot to a 1/4 inch foot. And don't forget to, if you need to, change your needle position, which I do. Let's start here and just start sewing this together. Now the cat quilt blocks that I made this year, there isn't a quilt pattern to go with it. However, I did give ideas in almost every video. To tell you the truth, I can't remember all of them, so you'll have to go back and watch them, but some of them have their own projects and some of them just have ideas on how you could use the block. So you'll want to check those out. Okay, let's put our little cat head right back up there. And let's sew this collar together. So we'd need fabric C and fabric R. Let's go ahead and press these out towards the white. Okay, let's go up here and grab the cat face. We're just going to flip that over on top of there. Okay, here's a little trick. I'm going to take this and fold it in half and just give it a quick little press with my fingers to make a crease. And I'm going to do the same with this, but I'm going to press it the opposite direction like this, so they'll kind of nest together. So we're just going to press it in half. What that'll do is that'll line that center mark up for you, and you'll stick a pin there, and it's more likely to line up where it should, to make that collar perfectly centered on that cat's neck. And then we're just going to pin on the farthest end, but we don't need to up here. Let's take that and press it. Let's see, let's press it up towards the face. All right, so let's put the face back up there. And now we need to start putting together this right here. So let's get the U fabrics and the top and bottom of the ball. Okay, let's press it toward the stripe again. Get back up there. Now let's grab D and S. All right, and I'm pressing those out towards the white. And I need to trim off my little tails here. Okay, now we're going to sew that top to the ornament. Okay, let's press that down towards the ornament. Now we'll stick it back there like that and sew the two F's to each side. Okay, let's press those out towards the background fabric. We're getting close, guys. We're on the home stretch. I love it when it comes together super quick and easy. So we'll just put that up there, and we're going to add fabric G to the bottom of our Christmas ornament. All right, let's go ahead and press that towards that solid piece of fabric and put it back up on the board. And we're going to sew that ornament to the cat face. Okay, let's open it up and press it towards the ornament. And back up on the board she goes. We're getting close, guys. We are getting so close. So now we're just going to add the cat body to the cat head. All right, let's press that down towards that cat body. Now that's just cute. Right there all by itself. Don't need anything else. Put it back up there. And let's get J and Q. Well, let's open it up and press it out towards the brown. Nope. Let's press it towards the white because we need those other seams to line up, and we've got those pressed towards the dark, I think. If we need to change it, we will. So let's go up here and grab the cat tail top and the cat tail bottom, and we'll sew those on. And I've got that wrong. Bigger than I'll get out. Did you see that? I got that wrong. Oh no. So I'm gonna have to go get 2 new pieces because I sewed it the wrong direction. Can you see the tail back here? How the diagonal seam goes this way, and I've got it going the opposite direction. It happens, so we'll just cut another piece real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to show you what I did wrong now that I've got the correct one sewn. And this is the correct one right here. And this is the incorrect one on the bottom. This is wrong, this is right. It goes right down here on the bottom like this and connects with, and that makes your tail. I just wanted to make sure that you could see the difference in the pieces and what was right and what was wrong. It happens sometimes. Okay, I think we'll press that up and then add the tip of our cattail. Okay, and let's press this one also down towards that bigger fabric, those two right here. And we're going to grab fabric I and bring it down here and sew it to the top of the tail. All right, let's take and press that up toward that solid fabric. And let's grab fabrics K. Oh no, let's sew this to the side of the cat. Then we'll put on K's. All right, and let's press it out towards that tail. And there we have cute little kitty cat. Now let's grab fabrics K and sew one to either side of the block. Okay, let's press those out, and we're going to grab fabrics L and sew them to the top and the bottom of the block, and we will be done with this block. Yay! Alrighty, and let's press those out towards the outside. And I am actually going to go give this a press with an iron because I'm going to be doing some stitching up here by the ornament. Okay, I gave my block a good press, and what I'm going to do is come up here to this ornament block, and I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to come in here and fold it this way so I can see that those corners do match up. Now give it a press. It should be exactly in the center. Oops. Did you see that? I matched up those two corners, those two gray corners right here, and then just gave it a pinch back here. Yeah, okay. And you can see my line. Let's do it again. Matching up the two gray corners. Pinch it here. Let's go ahead and crease it all the way out because that's where I need the line, is at the top. All right, so I'm going to turn my block upside down, put my open toe foot on just so I can see what I'm doing. I'm also going to change out to a black thread. Okay, I've changed out my thread to a black thread, and I'm going to put it my needle right down where that crease is. And I know you guys can't see that, so what I'm going to do, and because I'm having a hard time seeing it, is just draw that on there with some air erase marker. This marker will go away in minutes or by at least tomorrow morning. Just depends on how humid it is in here. So I'm going to put my needle or my presser foot down. I'm going to put my needle right down where that line's at, just on the opposite side of the seam, okay? Now I'm going to hold on to that top thread. I've got it right here, and I'm going to bring that thread up. I brought my needle up, and then I pulled on that top thread to bring up the bottom thread. See that? All right. So I'm going to put my needle down again, and I'm going to shorten my stitches to about 1.0, and I'm going to do a few back stitches till it makes it back to that seam point where I was at. And then I upped my stitches to 2. That's my stitch length. And I'm just going to stitch right on that line that I made. And then I'm going to turn it around. I didn't go off of the fabric. You know, 1 stitch away from going off of the fabric. Now I'm going to cut those threads because we secured them by doing those teeny tiny stitches. And now I'm just going to sew one more time right beside that first stitch. Doesn't matter which side, you can even do it right on top. Either way, it's going to make that line thicker. Okay, now I've stitched right into the top of the bulb, which was probably 1 stitch too many, but that's okay. No sense crying over spilt milk, right? That kitty cat can lick it up. All right, now I'm going to back stitch 2 or 3 times. That was 3, and I'm just going to go forward twice. And now I'm going to cut my threads, and there we have our little hook that's going to hang this from the top of our pillow over there. See that? And it's just that simple. Doesn't have to be all fancy. I'll trim my threads off the back. All right, first let's talk about the fabrics that I used in today's block. And today's block was made with all Lori Holt fabrics by Riley Blake. I don't know what fabrics or what line these two came from, so I would just put in Lori Holt Stars and Lori Holt Gingham, and it would probably come up on both of those if you're doing a Google search. But these right here this is B Basics, and you can see the number right here is C6403 by B in My Bonnet. This is 2017, and this is another B Basics. This is B Backgrounds, and you can see part of the background there, B Background, and there's no number on it. So, oh yeah, there is. It's 6384, C6384. And then this is another B Basics, and I don't have a number. All I have is the last 2 digits, which is 04. but it's Be Basics by Lori Holt, 2017. And I think this may be one of her nutmeg colors. I wouldn't swear to it, but those are the fabrics in today's block that we just made right here. Okay, to make this pillow, you're going to need to, of course, make the block. Any 12-inch block you can put in here. As long as you've got like a frame around the outside of it to make it 12 inches, unless you want your cat sitting right on that bottom frame, doesn't matter, or any block for that matter, touching this outer frame. Of course, you could switch these around and make this the white if your block goes all the way to the edge, and make this the red. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to call them frame 1 and frame 2. Okay, so frame 1, you're going to need 2 1.5 by 12.5 to go on each side, and then you're going to need 2 14.5 by 1.5 to go on the top and the bottom. Frame 2 right here is 2 1.5 by 14.5, and then 2 1.5 by 16.5. After you put those frames on, then you're going to need to put on each side, and these two side pieces are 16.5 this way by 11.5 this way. You'll need 2 of those, one for here and one for over there. Now this pillow looks like it has binding on it, but actually it does not. This is the part of the pillow top. As you can see, this is the back, okay? It's totally a different color on the back. All right, so the outer frame, which is this red polka dot, is the side pieces. There's 2 of them, and they are 1 inch by 16.5. And then the 2 top pieces are 1 inch by 39.5. Now you stick around and I'll show you how I made this look like a binding. So here I wanted to just show you the stitch that I did for the quilting for this. I kept it really simple. I used a walking foot, and here's the back of it. Pretty simple. It's called a wiggle stitch, and I used painter's tape to decide the width, and then after moving the painter's tape and lining it up with the edge of the stitch and doing another stitch, I went back and put another stitch in between because it was just too far apart from me. All right, so now that I've got this all quilted, the 2 pieces for the back, I cut it at 23 inches by width of fabric. And after getting my 23 inches by width of fabric, I cut 2 pieces of 23 by 17.5. Then I went in and turned this under twice. You can see here, I turned it under once and I ironed it as I turned it, and then I turned it again and ironed it. And now I'm going to sew about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge to close this up. Okay, now that I've got those sewn, I'm going to do kind of like a birthing method for this pillow, and you'll see why here in a little bit, but I'm just going to put my pieces on there, my backing pieces, right side down, line them up on each end. And I'm going to pin these in place and then sew all the way around the edge. Okay, I've pinned all the way around the outside of this, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to sew a little bit bigger than a 1/4 inch seam. I think I'm going to do about 1/2 inch. That's just going to make it a little bit stronger, and I'm also shortening my stitch length to 1.6 to give me more stitches, because you never know who's going to use this pillow, how rough they're going to be on it, and we want it to last a long time. So I'm putting an extra wide seam in that, about 1/2 inch. And I'll just sew all the way around it at a 1/2 inch and meet you back here. Okay, now that I've stitched all the way around the outside, I went in and just cut that point off. Right here's where my 2 lines intersect, and you know I'm cutting about a little less than a 1/4 inch, just so there won't be so much bulk in the corner. But you can trim those down even more if you wanted to by going like this. It's really up to you how you want to do it. So let's do all 4 corners that way, and we'll turn it right side out. After trimming all my corners, whoops, and the mess is still here, we're going to turn this right side out. You know, there's nothing to do but reach inside that backing and turn it right side out, and then we're going to push the corners out. As best we can, and it, you know, it all depends on how much effort you want to put into pushing those corners out. But I have this little tool. It came with a Dresden ruler that I had bought years ago, and I'm just going to push it up in that corner and get it as pointy as possible. All right, now that I've got my pillow turned, I want to work on this edge and iron it down. And I hope you can see this, how I don't want any of that back fabric, the closure fabric, to show through to the front when the pillow's being used. So what I want to do is smooth this out and iron it down. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it back and make sure that it's got a nice crease, and I'm going to do this all the way around the edge. Just pull that back and iron it. That way we've got a nice crease, and that front edge is just flipped over a little bit. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So there we go. We want it to look something like that. It doesn't have to be quite that drastic, but if it is, it's okay. We're going to do that all the way around. All right, we've gotten it all pressed back, and I've still got my walking foot on, and I am going to quilt right in this stitch. But the first thing I want to do is put my needle down and then bring my needle back up and hold on to that thread, and I'm going to pull my bottom thread up. Now I know you can't see that because my cutter on my sewing machine will leave it really, really short, but I'm going to grab a hold of it with these tweezers, and right there is my bottom thread. I'm going to grab a hold of it and push it back behind my foot. I'm just going to hold on to that, and I'm manually putting my needle back down in that seam. Now let me zoom in there a little bit. Okay, I've zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing, and I've brought my stitches down really short so I can kind of do like a tacking stitch. And I'm just going to do 3 or 4 small stitches forward and then 3 or 4 small stitches back. And I'm going to stay right in that ditch. I'm going to bring my stitches back up to 2.0. And I'm just going to stitch in that ditch all the way around this pillow top. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me that faux binding. We don't have to put binding on there, but it's going to look like we have binding on it when that pillow's laying on our bed, on our couch, or on our bench. You know, it's a bench pillow, so hopefully you'll put it on the bench. I don't have a bench, so mine will be going on the guest room bed. And just stay right in that ditch, go all the way around the pillow until you come back to the same spot. And we'll end it the same way that we started, taking 3 or 4 stitches forward and then 3 or 4 stitches back, and that way your stitches will be tacked in place forever. All right, you've added your backing and you've stuffed it with your pillow form, and this is what it looks like. If you don't have a pillow form, the pillow form for this is 16 by 38. You can get them at Joann's. They're made by, can't remember, but they're around $30, or you can do what I did. Now, You guys, this is a sneaky little thing that I do, and I've been doing it for a long time because I don't like to buy pillow forms. I have like 4 pillow forms that I use for all my pillows, and I didn't have one this big, and I wasn't going to go buy one. So what I do is take scrap pieces of batting and just layer it in there. That's all that my pillow is stuffed with, is scrap pieces of batting, and it works out really well. If I need it for another project, I can always just pull it out and use it. But it's like a Christmas pillow. I've got plenty of time to make me a pillow form, which you could do. Just 2 pieces of fabric, 16 by 38, sew them together, stuff them with whatever you have, batting or fabric, and make you a pillow form. And it's just that easy, super easy. So there we go, a cute little pillow that didn't take hardly any time at all, with a faux binding. Have to work on that a little bit, won't we? So, all right, I forgot to mention that there's a PDF that goes along with all of my cat blocks, and it's linked in the description box below. It will look something like this. There's 2. There's almost always 2. I think there's one that has 3. So this is what it will look like. It's cutting instructions only, and then there's a visual for you that's a little bit bigger if you need it. If you're like me, I'm older and I have vision problems, so it's nice to have this bigger picture. And that's it, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos, and hit that little bell notification. That way YouTube will notify you the next time I put out another video. Until next time, guys, I hope you find time to stitch up something sweet. I love you. Bye-bye.